Number 1. The Forbidden Resonator of Nikola Tesla. In the final years of his life, Nikola Tesla spoke in hushed tones of a device capable of drawing limitless energy not from wires or fuel, but from the very fabric of space itself. He called it his radiant energy receiver, a machine designed to tap into what he described as the primary solar rays permeating the vacuum. But declassified FBI files and seized laboratory inventories tell a darker story. In 1943, mere days after Tesla's death, the U.S. government's Office of Alien Property seized over 80 crates of his personal research, among them a sealed copper cylinder with internal quartz filaments and a rotating tungsten sphere suspended in argon gas. Witnesses who handled it reported sudden static discharges, metallic tastes in their mouths, and a low-frequency hum that seemed to vibrate not through the air but directly within the bones. The device vanished into military archives, never to be publicly seen again. Yet in 1976, a Soviet defector handed NATO intelligence a grainy photograph of an experimental Soviet vacuum energy converter bearing uncanny resemblance to Tesla's sketches, complete with the same anomalous resonance frequency of 18.7 Hz, a tone that modern physicists associate with quantum vacuum fluctuations. Tesla himself warned that such devices, if improperly shielded, could awaken forces beyond human control. Was his confiscated resonator merely an overambitious prototype, or the first functional conduit to what fringe theorists now call dark energy? The silence from official channels remains absolute, but the few surviving lab notes contain chilling marginalia. It does not consume. It listens. Number 2. The Philadelphia Experiment's suppressed power core. Long before the myth of a naval vessel blinking in and out of reality, there existed a physical artifact, the so-called zero-point capacitor, allegedly installed aboard the USS Eldridge in 1943. While mainstream historians dismiss the Philadelphia experiment as urban legend, declassified Naval Research Laboratory memos from 1944 reference an unstable energy accumulator recovered from a failed test at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. Unlike conventional capacitors, this unit, constructed from layered beryllium-copper alloys and filled with ionized deuterium, was designed not to store electricity, but to momentarily collapse local space-time metrics by generating intense torsion fields. Eyewitness accounts from retired engineers describe the device glowing violet during activation, warping nearby metal tools into spirals without heat, and inducing severe spatial disorientation in personnel within 30 feet. After a catastrophic test run that reportedly left 2 sailors fused into the ship's bulkhead, one physically intact but clinically brain-dead, the other vanished entirely, the capacitor was removed under armed guard and cataloged under Project Rainbow's highest clearance. Decades later, in 1987, a whistleblower from the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency leaked schematics of a similar device under the codename Project Nightingale, noting its energy signature matched theoretical models of dark energy extraction via Casimir cavity manipulation. The Navy has never acknowledged the capacitor's existence, yet shipyard blueprints archived at the National Archives show anomalous power conduits, leading not to engines or radar, but to a sealed chamber labeled only Field Stabilization Unit, Do Not Energize. If such a device truly harnessed vacuum energy, its confiscation wasn't about national security. It was about containing a force that defied known physics. Number 3. The Vril Society's Orb of Black Light. In the shadowed salons of 1920s Berlin, the esoteric Vril Society claimed contact with a subterranean race they called the Aldebaran Masters, who imparted knowledge of a self-sustaining energy sphere capable of bending matter and mind alike. While dismissed as occult fantasy, post-war Allied intelligence took the group far more seriously. Operation Paperclip files reveal that in April 1945, U.S. Army counterintelligence recovered a 12-inch obsidian orb from a bombed-out villa in Grunewald, its surface etched with spiraling Aramaic glyphs and internal filaments of unknown conductive material. The device, referred to in internal reports as Schwarzes Licht or black light, exhibited no external power source, yet emitted a continuous 0.3-watt thermal signature and a localized gravitational anomaly detectable by torsion balance. German physicists working under SS oversight had allegedly used it to levitate small metallic objects and induce trance states in test subjects, who reported visions of a black sun behind the stars. After its seizure, the orb was shipped to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where it was studied under Project Sign. One researcher noted in a redacted diary, "It doesn't radiate, it absorbs. Not light, not heat, attention." The last known photograph, declassified in 2001, shows the orb resting on a lead-lined pedestal, its surface reflecting not the room, but a distorted star field inconsistent with any known celestial map. Modern analysis by independent quantum historians suggests the orb may have functioned as a stabilized microsingularity containment unit, essentially a portable dark energy lens. The Vril Society's mythos may have been draped in mysticism, but the confiscated artifact pointed to something far more unsettling. A technology that didn't just use dark energy, it perceived it. Number 4. The Montauk Chair's Neural Energy Coupler. Buried beneath the decommissioned Camp Hero Air Force Station on Long Island lies a concrete vault sealed in 1983. Its contents never officially inventoried, but whispered about in defense contractor circles for decades. At the heart of the alleged Montauk project stood a steel-framed reclining chair wired to a cylindrical core known only as the psi drive. Unlike conventional electronics, the psi drive contained no circuit boards. Instead, it housed a pressurized chamber of cesium vapor interlaced with monofilament silver coils cooled to near absolute zero. According to testimony from Preston Nichols, a purported former project scientist, the device functioned by amplifying the human brain's bioelectric field into a coherent beam capable of manipulating local spacetime, a process he called consciousness-driven vacuum engineering. Subjects seated in the chair, often under heavy sedation and sensory deprivation, reportedly induced measurable distortions in atomic clocks and triggered spontaneous plasma discharges in adjacent rooms. The U.S. Air Force abruptly terminated the program after an incident in August 1983, during which the psi drive allegedly opened a temporal rift that persisted for 17 minutes, drawing in everything within a 50-foot radius, including, according to witness logs, 2 technicians who were never seen again. The device was dismantled and its core components flown to an undisclosed DoD facility under midnight seal. Declassified budget requests from 1984 reference a nonlinear energy transduction unit requiring continuous cryogenic maintenance and neural shielding, while a 1991 Sandia National Laboratories memo warns against reconstructing Montauk-type resonators due to unpredictable vacuum polarization feedback. If the psi drive truly converted thought into dark energy modulation, its confiscation wasn't merely about weaponization, it was about preventing human consciousness from becoming a conduit to the void. Number 5.
The Soviet psychotronic generator recovered in Kazakhstan. In the desolate plains near Semipalatinsk, the heart of the USSR's nuclear testing zone, a top-secret installation known only as Object 774 operated from 1968 to 1979. Its purpose, according to KGB archive fragments leaked in the 1990s, was not weapons development, but the weaponization of what Soviet physicists termed torsion energy, a subtle field they believed permeated the vacuum and responded to human intent. At the center of the facility stood a 3-meter-tall crystalline lattice apparatus, internally charged with ionized xenon and pulsed by phased microwave emitters. Dubbed the psychotronic generator, it was designed to focus this torsion field into a coherent beam capable of altering weather patterns, disrupting electronic systems hundreds of kilometers away, and, according to defector accounts, inducing mass psychological effects in targeted populations. During a 1976 test, the device allegedly blacked out radar systems across Mongolia and triggered migraines, nausea, and vivid nightmares in residents of Ulaanbaatar, symptoms consistent with exposure to low-frequency vacuum fluctuations. When the project was abruptly shut down in 1979, coinciding with a spike in unexplained atmospheric anomalies over Siberia, the generator was dismantled and its core components sealed in lead-lined containers. U.S. intelligence tracked its shipment to a remote storage depot near Arkhangelsk, but after the Soviet collapse, the device vanished. In 2003, a former GRU officer sold satellite imagery to a private research group showing a similar structure under construction in Novosibirsk, surrounded by electromagnetic shielding rated for exotic energy containment. Modern quantum field theory now recognizes that the vacuum is not empty, but seethes with zero-point energy, exactly the domain the Soviets sought to exploit. The confiscated generator may have been crude, but it pointed toward a terrifying truth. Dark energy isn't just a cosmological constant. It can be influenced, focused, and perhaps even weaponized.
Number 6. The alien artifact from Roswell's energy vault. Beyond the well-worn narrative of crashed saucers and alien bodies lies a far more obscure and better documented element of the Roswell incident: the recovery of a non-metallic ovoid object that emitted no heat, reflected no light, and defied all known material analysis. While Project Mogul sought to explain the debris as weather balloons, internal memos from the Air Material Command in 1947 describe a contained energy cell secured separately from the main wreckage and flown directly to Wright Field under triple escort. This object, referred to in inventory logs as Item X7, was approximately 18 inches long, forged from a seamless composite resembling obsidian-infused graphene, and internally threaded with filamentary structures that pulsed with a faint cobalt luminescence when exposed to magnetic fields. Scientists at the Armed Forces Institute of Pathology noted that it maintained a constant internal temperature of 2.7 Kelvin, matching the cosmic microwave background despite ambient conditions. Most disturbingly, radiation detectors placed near it registered negative energy densities, a phenomenon only theoretically possible in regions of exotic matter or dark energy dominance. In 1952, the object was transferred to a newly constructed subterranean vault at Los Alamos, codenamed Chamber Theta, where it remained under 24-hour surveillance until 1967, when all records abruptly cease. A 1989 Freedom of Information Act request yielded a single redacted photograph showing a containment unit labeled Vacuum Stabilization Prototype, Roswell Origin. Independent physicists who reviewed the limited spectral data concluded the artifact exhibited Casimir-like effects on a macroscopic scale, suggesting it functioned as a passive dark energy transducer, drawing power not from fuel, but from the quantum vacuum itself. If true, its confiscation wasn't about reverse engineering alien tech. It was about quarantining a device that operated outside the known laws of thermodynamics.
Number 7. The Nazi Bell's chronoton core. Deep within the Wenceslas mine in occupied Poland, SS scientists under the direction of Hans Kammler conducted a series of clandestine experiments codenamed Die Glocke, the Bell. Described in post-war interrogations as a 9-foot-tall, bell-shaped device lined with rotating drums of violet mercury-like fluid called Serum 525, the apparatus was reportedly powered by a central crystalline spire that pulsed with an eerie internal light. Surviving engineers claimed the bell generated a localized field that warped time, petrified organic matter, and caused blood to crystallize in nearby animals. But the true heart of the device, the component most zealously guarded by the SS, was its chronoton core, a self-contained energy module said to be fueled not by fission or chemical reaction, but by what the scientists cryptically termed the latent pressure of empty space. After the war, Kammler disappeared and the bell vanished. But in 1950, a U.S. Army technical team recovered a sealed lead cask from a flooded bunker near Ludwikovic. Inside lay a fractured quartz cylinder etched with fractal geometries and impregnated with traces of stable, super-heavy elements not found on Earth. Radiation readings showed persistent negative pressure anomalies, and gravimeters detected micro-warping of spacetime around the object. The artifact was classified under Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency, JIOA, Directive 19, then transferred to a black site lab in New Mexico. Declassified sketches from a 1953 Sandia report label it Possible Dark Energy Catalyst, handle only with non-conductive tongs. Modern theoretical models suggest such a core could exploit the cosmological constant by stabilizing quantum vacuum fluctuations into usable energy, a feat far beyond 1940s technology. The bell may have been Nazi science fiction, but the confiscated core hinted at a physics that transcends ideology, one where emptiness itself holds power. Number 8. The Stanford Zero-Point Module, seized in 1998. In a quiet laboratory at Stanford University's Engineering Quad, a small research team led by Dr. Elena Voss pursued a radical hypothesis that the quantum vacuum's zero-point energy could be asymmetrically harnessed using resonant cavities tuned to specific Planck scale frequencies. Funded initially through DARPA grants, the project progressed quietly until 1998, when university logs recorded a sudden power anomaly, a 1.2 kilowatt output from a device consuming only 12 watts of input. The zero-point module, or ZPM, was no larger than a shoebox, constructed from niobium-coated sapphire rings and pressurized with metastable helium-4. Internal sensors detected persistent negative energy densities consistent with theoretical models of dark energy extraction. Within days, federal agents from the Department of Energy's Office of Intelligence arrived with a sealed warrant. The device, all lab notes, and 3 terabytes of quantum simulation data were confiscated under the Atomic Energy Act's Special Nuclear Materials Clause, a designation typically reserved for plutonium or enriched uranium. Dr. Voss was placed under a lifetime non-disclosure agreement. Her team disbanded. Leaked emails from a 2005 congressional oversight inquiry revealed that the ZPM was tested at the Nevada National Security Site, where it reportedly powered a 200-kilowatt load for 72 hours without refueling, its only byproduct being a faint spatial shear detectable by laser interferometry.
The device's principle relied not on creating energy, but on momentarily borrowing it from the vacuum's ground state, a loophole in quantum field theory that, if scalable, could render fossil fuels and even nuclear fission obsolete. Yet no follow-up research was ever authorized. A single internal memo, stamped "No Forn," warns, "Stabilization fails beyond 2.3 kilowatts. Risk of vacuum metastability event unacceptable." The confiscated ZPM remains one of the few documented cases where academic science brushed against the edge of cosmological engineering and was silenced for it.
Number 9. The Chilean black box from the Andes anomaly. In 2004, a seismic monitoring station in Chile's Atacama Desert recorded an impossible event, a 15-second tremor with no tectonic origin, emanating from a point 200 meters beneath the remote ridge known locally as Cerro Oscuro, Dark Hill. A joint team from the Chilean Air Force and a covert U.S. Geological Survey unit excavated the site, uncovering not a fault line, but a 4-foot-tall obsidian black cuboid embedded in bedrock, its surface smooth to the atomic level and colder than the surrounding stone despite the desert heat. The object, internally hollow and humming at 7.83 hertz, the Schumann resonance, was impervious to drilling, acid, and laser ablation. When connected to a spectrometer, it emitted no signature, yet nearby compasses spun erratically and atomic clocks drifted by 0.4 seconds per hour. The black box, as it was dubbed in internal reports, was airlifted to a restricted facility in Antofagasta, then secretly transferred to Area 51 under Project Stargate oversight. Declassified satellite imagery from 2006 shows a shielded transport container entering the Nevada desert, matching dimensions of the Chilean artifact. Most disturbing were the testimonies of 2 geologists who handled it. Both reported waking each night at 3:33 a.m. for weeks afterward, convinced they were being watched by the dark. In 2011, a fragment of leaked dialogue from a Pentagon briefing described the box as a passive dark energy sink, possibly a beacon or a battery, but definitely not human. Independent astrophysicists later noted that the location of its discovery aligns precisely with a cosmic void in the large-scale structure of the universe, a region where dark energy density is theorized to be abnormally high. The confiscated artifact may not have generated energy at all. It may have been a receiver, tuned to a frequency that connects Earth to the silent, accelerating expansion of the cosmos itself. Number 10. The quantum vacuum tap recovered from a sunken Soviet submarine. In 1986, the Soviet submarine K-222 vanished during a classified patrol in the Norwegian Sea. NATO initially assumed a reactor meltdown, but sonar data declassified in 2012 revealed no explosion, only a sudden total acoustic void lasting 11 seconds before the vessel imploded under extreme external pressure. Salvage operations in 1993, conducted jointly by Russian and U.S. deep-sea teams, recovered a titanium vault from the wreckage labeled Device S9 Teplo, heat. Inside lay a spherical apparatus, 24 inches in diameter, composed of layered graphene and superconducting yttrium, barium, copper oxide, maintained at cryogenic temperatures even after 7 years underwater. The device, internally pressurized with Bose-Einstein condensate, showed no signs of corrosion or water ingress. According to a heavily redacted Navy report, when briefly reactivated during testing at the Arctic Submarine Laboratory, it produced 8.7 kilowatts of continuous power with zero fuel consumption, and generated a localized space-time curvature so intense that light bent visibly around it. The Soviets, it appears, had succeeded where others only theorized. They had built a stable quantum vacuum energy extractor, drawing power directly from the zero-point field. But something went wrong.
Sensor logs from the sub's final moments indicate the device entered a runaway feedback loop, collapsing the vacuum state in its immediate vicinity and creating a microregion of negative pressure so extreme it literally crushed the hull from the outside in. The artifact was immediately classified under the U.S. Navy's Exotic Threat Mitigation Protocol and stored in a Faraday-shielded vault at Naval Base Kitsap, accessible only to personnel with Sigma-level clearance. In 2020, a quantum physicist at Caltech, referencing anonymous sources, claimed the device remains active, its internal field pulsing in sync with the universe's expansion rate. If true, the confiscated vacuum tap is not just a machine, it is a living fragment of dark energy made manifest, silently echoing the force that is pulling the cosmos apart. And somewhere, in a sealed chamber beneath Puget Sound, it waits.